If I were to tell you to assume the front lean and rest position, would you have any idea what the hell I'm talking about? These are 5 things your average soldier can do, and I'm gonna educate you about them. Let's go, fall in on me. What's up, my friends? Welcome to an all new video. US Army veteran ThatChrisChaos, and these are 5 things that every soldier should be able to know. Your average soldier should be able to do. Now, I'm not saying that these are things that civilians can't do, and soldiers are the only ones that can do this. So what I'm saying here is that if you were to take a group of random civilians and a group of random soldiers, these are 5 things that these soldiers should be able to do, but not every single one of these civilians can do. So that's simply what I'm talking about, so don't get all upset saying, I can do that, I can do this, and whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that these are 5 things that you can go up to some random soldier, and if they are a good soldier, a soldier that keeps up with being a soldier, they should have no problem doing this. But you go to some random person on the streets and say, hey, do this or do that, they may or may not be able to actually accomplish that. Let's start with the first one, and that is every soldier, your average soldier, should be able to, no problem, run 2 miles without having to stop. I even talked about this in a recent video where I was talking about if you're trying to get ready for the Army, that should be a goal of yours to make sure that you can run 2 miles without having to stop to rest. And that's something that's common with soldiers. You are doing physical training Monday through Friday, and there's usually alternating like run days. And when you go on these run days, you're doing 2 miles, 4 miles, 6 miles, whatever the case is, and you're not supposed to be stopping to walk. There are times when soldiers fall out of those runs, maybe soldiers that are not in as good of shape as they should be and they have to eventually catch up or whatever, but your average soldier that is not a soldier that is struggling to be in the Army should probably be able to accomplish this with no problem. There are probably a lot of civilians out there that can't do that. Maybe they're good runners and they have no problem doing that, sure, but you're just going up to some random person on the street and saying, hey, can you run 2 miles without stopping? If they're a runner, then sure, they can do that no problem, but if they're not, then no. If you do that same kind of thing to a soldier and say, hey, can you go run 2 miles without stopping? Most likely your chances are a lot higher that the soldier is going to be able to accomplish that. Now, another fitness related one, because that one's probably pretty obvious, and this one may be obvious as well, but a soldier should easily be able to, no problem, knock out 20 push-ups. It's a very common thing, right? You're doing physical fitness, 20, 10, that's usually a pretty common number of needing to do these push-ups to do some physical fitness and then maybe rotating through different exercises. Especially if a soldier got in trouble, right? Drop and give me 20, right? Get in the front lean and rest position, which is the push-up position, and knock out 20 push-ups. 20 is usually your pretty common number. You have other times where it may be more, it might be less, or whatever, but 20 is a pretty common one. That's actually less than what's required on the physical fitness test too, so 20 should be no problem for a soldier that can pass their physical fitness test to just be able to knock out 20 push-ups. There are a lot of civilians that I know that can barely do 1, right? Maybe you're not familiar with working out, maybe you work out differently or whatever the case might be, and they struggle to do a couple of push-ups. Maybe they can do a couple, but then after maybe like 5 or 10, they're gonna start to really struggle and maybe start having really sloppy form, or they just can't continue doing it because they're just not used to doing push-ups. A soldier that is passing their physical fitness test, on the spot, no problem, should easily be able to do 20 push-ups. Now, before we move into the next one, this video is sponsored by the Ridge wallet, and if you don't have a Ridge wallet, you probably have some old school bulky wallet that's horrible looking, and you need to get with the times, my friend, and get yourself a Ridge wallet. These wallets are very minimal, they're very sleek, very stylish. They can hold up to 12 cards inside of them, even a little strap or money clip on the back for carrying cash. Come in a lot of different styles. I really love the 18 karat gold one. This one is the gunmetal one that is also very fancy, but they have a lot of different styles. You have black, you got carbon fiber, you even got a tiki design, a topographical one. There's all sorts of different styles that maybe fits your needs. With the holidays right around the corner, this is a great Christmas idea to get someone a great minimalist wallet, maybe even reward yourself with something very fancy and sleek. Best of all, you have 45 days to try out this wallet, and if within that time you don't love this wallet, you can return it, they will pay for the shipping, and you can get your money back. But if you decide to keep the wallet, well, even better, because they are backed by a lifetime guarantee. If it gets damaged, messed up in some way, you can have it replaced free of charge. So don't waste time, my friends. Christmas is right around the corner and you need to get on it with those Christmas gifts. Visit the link down in the description box to visit ridge.com/chaosarmy. And when you use the promo code chaosarmy, you can also get 10% off at checkout to include free shipping. Now let's transition into the third thing that every soldier should have no problem doing, and that is firing a weapon. And I'm not talking about, oh yeah, I can just pick up a gun and pull the trigger, that's no big deal. No, I'm talking about with proper technique. There is more of a style to it than simply just grabbing a weapon and pulling that trigger. There are things like breathing techniques. There are trigger squeeze to make sure that you're not overreaching on the trigger or, applying a proper trigger squeeze to it to be able to accurately hit that target. Things like properly holding that weapon so that you can have good steady aim on that weapon and be able to transition from different positions and be accurate. So there is more to it than just simply holding the weapon and pulling the trigger. Now, if you're someone who hunts or goes out, shooting all the time for sport or for fun or whatever, then sure, maybe you know some of these techniques. But for the average soldier, this is a requirement, right? You do training often to be able to fire these weapons. You have to go to the firing range. You have to qualify with your assigned weapon every 6 months or less. So they're doing this very often, and they have a requirement as far as how many targets they have to hit to make either marksman or sharpshooter or expert or whatever the case is. There's even a lot of units out there that I've seen where the requirement is to qualify an expert, and if you don't qualify expert, well then you're gonna be standing there at the range for a while until you do qualify expert. So they get a lot of practice with firing weapons and learning that technique. There's training that goes up to that range time, right? To make sure that everybody is proficient with how to do their breathing, how to use that trigger squeeze, and how to use proper technique and everything to make sure that they are being as accurate as possible. It's not the same like in the civilian world where you're just going to a shooting range, having some fun, shooting at some targets. If you hit it, cool. If you don't, maybe you're just trying again, whatever the case is. There's a lot more science to it and a lot more technique that goes in it to make sure that you are proficient at being a rifleman or even someone firing a pistol. So going back to my analogy, you get a group of people, there might be a lot of those people that have never even touched a weapon ever, where in the Army, everybody has. So everybody has fired a weapon, they have qualified with a weapon at some point in time. Not everybody in the civilian world has to fire a weapon or has even touched a weapon. Soldiers do it often. They touch weapons all the time, they fire weapons all the time, they have to continuously qualify, so your average soldier knows how to fire a weapon proficiently. Your average soldier also knows basic first aid. This is a requirement. You learn some basic first aid and basic training. A lot of units require soldiers to go through what is called the CLS course or the Combat Lifesavers course. Actually, I think they may even have like another term for it now, but it's your basic combat lifesaver course that the medics teach, and they teach you basic first aid that includes like how to apply a pressure dressing, how to apply a tourniquet, how to even give an IV. Your average civilian, unless they work in the hospital, work in nursing or some kind of medical field type of thing, doesn't know how to do these things. If you were to take a guy who is pretty badly injured and go up to some random civilians and be like, hey, how do we stop the bleeding, right? They may not know what to do. Your average soldier should know how to apply a tourniquet, should know how to apply pressure to a wound and how to, kind of dress that wound and try to take care of it until, a medic or a ambulance or something can show up. And it really, if need be, that soldier probably knows how to give an IV. I mean, there may be some soldiers that are not very good at doing it, but they probably know how to do it. I mean, if you're not in the military right now, do you know how to give an IV? And maybe if you're in the medical field or something along those lines, then sure, maybe. But if you're not, you probably have no idea how to give an IV. You maybe try to wing it, but that may not be a good result by trying to do that. Soldiers have that training though. They go through this little, I think it's a couple days course, right, or whatever, of that combat lifesaver course to learn how to apply, pressure dressings, tourniquets. They practice giving IVs, and they do other medical stuff to learn how to give basic first aid. So your average soldier knows how to give basic first aid, where your average civilian probably doesn't. Now this fifth and last one may be a little bit of a stretch, but bear with me here, all right? Your average soldier should probably know how to navigate terrain, how to navigate with a map and a compass and a protractor. And I say it may be a little bit of a stretch because there are a lot of soldiers that, they learn it in basic training, learn some basic fundamentals of it, but then back at their units, it kind of gets lost. It's definitely one of those skills where if you're not practicing it, you will lose it. And there are often soldiers that don't continue to practice it. Certain ones like infantry and everything, they practice a little bit more often than certain other ones. So it really depends sometimes on your MOS or the type of unit that you're in. But a soldier that's keeping up with their basic soldiering skills, they should know how to read a map and take a compass and be able to figure out how to navigate to a point with that information. I mean, if you think about it, like I've done with those other examples, if you're a civilian, I give you a map and a compass and a protractor and everything like that, and I said that, hey, you're right here, here's a grid, I need you to navigate to that grid. Probably right there you're already gonna be lost, right? You probably may not be familiar with the military grid reference system of, that grid format and of how to read that and how that even works. At a minimum, your soldiers should at least know how to do that, I would hope, right? That, just depends sometimes on the soldier. But, given that information, that a soldier should be able to know, hey, I know how to find that grid location on this map, I know how to plot it. Hopefully, they're successful being able to find it, because that is, like I said, definitely a skill that takes some practice. And yes, I have seen some soldiers that really struggle at land nav. If you're a lieutenant out there, I feel sorry for you. You probably really suck at land nav. I don't know. That's a joke, I guess, that maybe some military people probably get. But it is a common task. It is a basic skill for the United States Army that soldiers should know. They should know how to use a map and how to do land navigation, especially soldiers that are higher ranking, soldiers that have gone to non-commissioned officer leadership courses. That is commonly a requirement, right? You have to do a land nav course when you go through your non-commissioned officer course. For other individuals that are doing things like Rangers or other schools, that is a requirement. Especially Special Forces, right? Special Forces, they have like a crazy intense land nav course that makes them really good at land nav, and they should be able to accomplish. So your average soldier should know how to navigate with a map and a compass and everything. But like I said, that one may be a stretch. I don't know if for those of you that are out there that are currently in the Army, if you're weak or if you're strong in land nav. I was always fairly good at land nav, but I've seen a lot of other soldiers that really struggle at that. I mean, I have a video on my channel that actually teaches you about basic land nav. If you want to look that one up, you can probably find it. There might be a card that maybe popped up if I remember to add that in post. But thankfully nowadays in the Army, they actually have a navigation system that allows you to kind of navigate that, but that's mainly inside of a vehicle. And that's actually what I teach as my civilian job. If you'd like to learn more about my civilian job, well, I got a video about it right here you can check out. If you haven't seen my latest upload, it's right here. Check it out. Links in the description for social media, Discord channel, all that fun stuff. I'm ThatChrisChaos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.